Hello and welcome to the Sacrilege how-to guide for the 10-man version of the normal Lord Marrowgar encounter in Icecrown Citadel. I'm Arkham, the leader of Sacrilege, and I'll be walking you through how my group handles this particular boss. What you see here is our positioning for the normalized phase of the fight with Lord Marrowgar. It's my belief that lazy practices or shortcuts versus a boss will eventually lead to other bad habits in raiding, so we don't tend to stack up on the boss to negate the cold flames. Instead, we have the ranged and the healers form two staggered lines with 10 yards between them and anyone to the left or to the right, thus allowing a lane for the cold flame to travel harmlessly past people as it goes for its target. This means that the vast majority of the time, only one person will ever have to move. By using a targeting macro for the bone spike, it also allows us to very quickly get the person down from the spike and makes it easier when using this strategy to go for the boned achievement. You can think of this fight as essentially a two-phase encounter. The first phase, where you take on the normal mode of Lord Marrowgar, is going to pit you against a few very basic abilities. The first that you need to be aware of is the Saber Lash. And what this is going to do is split 200% damage between the tank and the next closest person to the tank, which always needs to be your off-tank. If for any reason your off-tank is out of position when this hits, and a melee or any other raid member happens to be closer, then it's going to split the damage to that person instead, and it's going to kill them. Also during the first phase, you're going to see him casting his Bone Spike Graveyard. When he does this, one person in the raid will become impaled on a bone spike, and they need to very quickly be taken down from there. A shield and a couple of quick hots is essentially all that's needed to keep them alive throughout that, and it only really becomes a problem if you're incredibly slow getting them down off the bone spikes, or if they're also targeted for cold flame. The cold flame will persist through both phases of the encounter, and it's a very slow-moving trail of blue fire. The reason it's called cold flame is because it is in fact frost damage. So if you're going to be using any sort of an aura, then run frost, not fire. It's very simple. All you have to do is strafe out of the way. It takes about 3 seconds for it to pass you by, move back into position, and everything's right in the world. When he enters his second phase, which is his Bone Storm, he'll begin to target players and whirlwind toward them. All you have to do is run out of the way of this. It will move to your original position, and if you just keep moving, you'll move to safety. You can continue to apply dots or quick ranged attacks. It's best if melee avoids this. I, as a bear tank, tend to try to approach him during this phase to keep my lacerate stacks on and maintain my bleed there. It's a very brief phase, and through the changes that have been made to this encounter since it was first released, the boss is tauntable now. The boss also no longer resets aggro on a Bone Storm, and there's also a brief pause when he finishes a Bone Storm before he begins to attack again, giving your tanks plenty of time to reposition the boss so that everyone else can get out of the way and not be accidentally caught up in something like a Saber Lash. The only difference in the Cold Flame during the Bone Storm phase is that while he is doing his Bone Storm, he's actually going to create a cross pattern of cold flames, shooting them out in 4 different directions, and again, you simply have to move. It passes by rather quickly, and if you feel that you're being cut off by the cold flame, the damage is relatively minor, so simply run through it. It's a very basic, very repetitive fight, and as long as you're quickly getting people down off of the bone spikes, as long as you are not taking unnecessary damage from the cold flames, and as long as you were being mindful of positioning so as not to let anyone who shouldn't be getting hit with a Saber Lash get hit with a Saber Lash, it's a very simple encounter. Even by doing this the quote-unquote correct way and not the stack up under the boss and basically take cold flames out of the equation method. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope that the information presented here will help you in your attempts on Lord Marrowgar.